Hello everyone, good morning. This is Robert Radford with 50 Years of Chess. I'm chewing a cough sweet because I've had quite a bad cough the last few days because I picked up a cold and it's left me with a bit of a cough. And so if I sneeze or cough, I'll have to try and edit that out, but I should be okay to do this video. My opponent for you today is a second game against a player, John Curtis of the Clifton Chess Club. John's a very strong player. He's always in the 2000s rating and makes very few mistakes in games. You've got to outplay him to beat him. You won't. He doesn't make blunders hardly ever. Very concentrated player. He's always looking at the board with intensity. You know that he's planning something evil against you, and you're thinking, how am I going to stop it? That's the kind of player he is. He's not a particularly smash bang wallop player. He doesn't play like that. He builds up positions which are unstoppable, really. Once he gets to a certain point, then he will come in. I've enjoyed playing him. I think I've played him about 4 or 5 times. I've managed 2 draws. The other one I showed you, I think I showed at the end that I missed the win. But if you don't see it, it's a draw. Simple as that. That's all it was. But this one is an interesting one. It was played in the Spring Congress of April 2006. I did quite well in the Open, actually. I scored about 3.5, something like that. And I don't normally play in the Opens. I don't consider myself good enough. But on this occasion, I did. And I was pleased to have played this game with John. We're acquainted. We don't really know each other that well. But he did tell me in a conversation we had that he visited Iceland at some time, and that he managed to get to see Fisher's grave, Bobby Fischer's grave there, where he was buried. I thought, wow, that's a big deal, and not many people get to be able to do that. Kasparov went there, but something John wanted to do. He said Iceland was a great place to holiday. So generally, he's a nice guy. I like him. Got a good sense of humour, and I'll show you a little picture of him. So here's a picture of John. He's 38, I believe, here, and I was 53, so I'm a bit older now, about 15 years. He was playing Michael J. White here in the Summer Congress, and I was in the Major Congress at that time, in that one. When I did play him, that was in the Open. So, yeah, I thought I'd show you that. So, the game we played, John was white, and he opened with d4. Now, most of the Bristol and Clifton players are d4, c4 sort of players. They play sort of Queen's Gambit, openings and stuff like that. And generally, you've got a good idea of what you're up against before you play them. And they're very, very solid. They don't give away hardly anything. And if you're one of these players that play on counter-attack instinctively and everything like I do, then you don't get very far with them. But I planned for this tournament that one of my defences against a d4 opening setup would be the slow Slav defence. It would be what's known as a shallop defence, a quiet variation, and I'll show you how it goes. I replied d5. John played knight f3, knight f6, e3, and this is what I mean. Then they throw in c4, knight c3, bishop d3. it's the usual sort of thing. I play it a lot now myself these days. Now this is where the shallop comes in, bishop f5 and e6. So moving on, I played c6, which is now going to the Slav proper. And John played bishop d3. That's one way you can go. You can also play knight c3 here, because he hasn't quite got control of the e4 square yet. So I swapped off, queen takes, and then e6. Now this is the Slav, as we can see it. Knight c3 now. That's when he's played it. So bishop e7, and he castled, and he's played an early e4. Sometimes white would play rook e1 first to get behind the pawn, but he's got enough to push it now. So I he took the knight. I could go knight takes knight, but I want to keep developing my pieces. I'm just staying ahead of him on development slightly. He hasn't got his bishop out yet, but he's chose rook to d1 behind the pawn, and then queen c7 I played, which I think is correct. Bishop g5, h6. I put the question to the bishop, what's he going to do? Move it away, or is he going to take the knight? So he's gone to h4. Now upcoming queen f4, this is starting to penetrate into his position a little bit and try to just get a reaction from him more than anything, because I don't want him dictating the game to me, because that could be fatal for me if he did. But I'm also pressuring his knight and threatening to win the knight on e4. So of course he's got bishop takes bishop if I did that. So I'm not really threatening to take it. I'm more interested in trying to get something going on that side of the board. So he's withdrawn the knight to c3, and I played g5. I like this move. This is typical of the way I play. I'm not afraid to push my pawns in front of my king if I feel it's safe enough to do so. I think I've demonstrated that on some of my other games. So he's dropped the bishop back to g3, and I played queen back to f5. I really don't mind him playing queen takes queen, pawn takes queen, because I've already got a threat of f4 on the next move, which will win a bishop. So I'm dictating the play doing this. There you go. He takes f5. So he's got to do something now. He should play bishop into e5, which he did, and I played knight into e4. So I'm now going to threaten to play f6. So he's played rook to e1 first, but I didn't play f6. I thought about it and decided that bishop b4 was the right way to go, because I'm pinning the knight, stopping him playing knight takes knight, pawn takes knight, rook takes pawn. So he's hitting the bishop straight away. No, he's not messing about here. Straight in with the pawn, and I took on c3. He took with the pawn, and then I took the bishop. Very important piece. I want that piece off the board. And he retook the knight. Now he's got a great knight there, so I got to kick that knight, which I did straight away. And he went back. Surprised me with this interesting little novelty, knight into g4, hitting the pawn, but I can't really take it, because he would take my knight on e4, and not only will he be threatening to take the pawn on g4, he will also be threatening to double up his rooks, and that would give him a real advantage. So I decided I'd defend the pawn. So he's gone back knight into e3. So now it looked clear to me, if just keep advancing the king, push on that f-pawn, I should be able to get at least a draw. He does have possibilities of a passed pawn, but that can be easily blockaded if I attack the knight shortly. There you go, I played king g6. Now he's protecting that pawn. I could have took it, but I don't want him getting in down that. It's not worth taking. John's the sort of player, if he gets initiative, that will soon turn into a big advantage. So I'm not allowing that. I played 4. Now, this is what he didn't want me to kick that. He had a choice really. He could have played g6 to stop, but it wouldn't have stopped it because pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn. Same thing. So, having played this pawn move, I offered him a draw. He is a lot higher rated, so for me, a draw would be a good result in this game. He wouldn't have wanted to draw with me, being lower graded, but he looked at the position. He was pretty resigned to the fact that it is difficult for white to get anywhere in this game. And having to nurse a doubled C pawn. And my king already advanced up the board, and I'll soon have my rooks in the centre. Yeah, he said, okay, I'll set your draw. So there you go. That was it. I was very pleased with it, with the draw. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed watching this. And I just want to show you something again about that picture before I go. There's something I noticed about this picture. If you look, it's quite unusual. As John is about to press the clock, he's not looking down at the clock at all. Looks like he's deeply in thought. It's certainly not in conversation, because they wouldn't have been talking to each other like this, at all like this. He's thinking, I think, probably about the move he's just made and what's going to happen next and so on. But there's something else as well, and that is, if you look at his position, he's got 2 knights on the a4 and a5. That's very rare to see that. I don't know how he did that. I might have to look up that game and have a study of it and see why he reached that position. But yeah, so I just wanted to show you it. And yeah, so there's John. Nice guy. I met him a few times, like I said, over the board, and he's a good player. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again.